So what we're looking at here is, again, a problem that a lot of you guys got wrong. Like over 50% of you guys actually got this problem wrong. And here's the idea. Match the descriptions to the steps used in solving the linear equation. 3 open parentheses 3x minus 8 close parentheses equals to 4x plus 6. And then all of a sudden, we go to this line here. So here is our options. We could subtract by 4, x, add 24, divide by 5, add 6, divide by 3, subtracting 4, or use distributive property. Which of these operations got me from here to here? Now, did I subtract 4x to both sides to get there? No. Subtract 4x is actually, take a look here, is my next step. And it's a simple mistake of like how to use this interface. And really what happens is we're supposed to write, what did we just do? So what we just did here, let me go ahead and show you guys a blank one here. So what we just did to get from here to here is we distributed the 3. So we use distributive property. That's actually our first step. Then, how do we get from this step to my next step? Minus 4x to both sides. So that's how I went from a 9 to a 5. We subtracted the 4 to both sides. That's why here we would say subtract 4x to both sides. So the biggest confusion here wasn't actually the problem itself, but how to fill it in appropriately, correctly. Let me read one of the chats. Okay, all right. Next one is how do I get from this step to this step? I see a 24 and a 6, and all of a sudden the 24 and 6 disappeared and became a 30. So which way did they move it? They moved it to the 6 to the left or 24 to the right. They added 24 to both sides. So we add 24 to both sides. And last step, how do we get from a 30 and a 5 to a 6? They divided both sides by 5. Okay. So just FYI, the way these work is not what am I going to do, it's what did I do to get there, okay? That is just a big takeaway for these type of problems, is what did I do to get there? Okay. All right, so in IXL today, you guys are gonna have an easy IXL problem. And the IXL will pretty much reflect what we just did in our homework, what we just did there. And we are going to, right here, do pretty much the same thing. So this is kind of our last step here for these types of problems. We're going to say, what do we do at each step? In this case, we're gonna go ahead and just solve the problem. So my first step, solving this, let me zoom in a little bit. What would you guys say I would do on my first step to get from my first step to my second step? We could, 1, distribute the 4. That is perfectly fine. Or 2, we can distribute the 4. But look at what did they do. They went ahead and divided 4 from both sides. So let me go ahead and try that. Oops. Going to, oops, not that one. Use this one here. Okay, so I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And the 4 divides the 4. 16 divided by 4 gives me 4. Next move, they tell me subtract 3 to both sides. And if I'm solving for u, yes, I would subtract 3 from both sides. Give me a 1. So this is pretty much what we've been doing before, nothing new. We're just following the steps that were given. And these are steps that we were going to do anyways, right? These are steps that we could have done anyways. We could have done this problem a little differently. And let's see if we get the same answer. If I distribute the 4, that's 4u plus 12. Now, why didn't they distribute the 4? Why did they divide the 4 out? Because on my next move, I want you guys to make a decision. Which one would be easier? Looking here, would u plus 3 equals to 4 be easier, or 4u plus 12 equals to 16? I want you guys to click on the participants. If you think u plus 3 is easier, please click yes. And if you think 4u plus 12 equals 16 is easier, please click no on the participants. Which line do you think is easier for you? U plus 3 or 4u plus 12? Great. A lot of you guys are saying that, of course, this looks easier. And that's the thing about math. Both ways will be 100% correct. But which way would be faster? Which way would be easier? Which way would lead us to less mistakes? But so I'm going to go ahead and finish this, even though it was a little more work. My minus 12 to both sides. 4u is equal to 4. Divides both sides by 4. Opposite operation of multiply. U is equal to 1. Oh my gosh, it's the same answer. But when we distribute, it's almost like throwing all your toys on the floor, right? It's just going to be a bigger mess, but you can still fix it. We can still clean it up. Okay. All right, let's look at the next problem. We said the answer was going to be 1. Okay, we said this was going to be 4, and it's going to be 1. Easy peasy. All right, this one's going to be kind of an easy question. What am I going to do? They told me subtract 13 to both sides. 20 minus 13 is going to be 7. And then we're going to, next move, take a look. How to get rid of that 7? Opposite of multiply by 7 is divide by 7. 7 divided by 7 is just 1. So you guys can go through these problems pretty quickly. We see the same problem as before. I see a very similar problem. Sorry, this is a different one. Go ahead and mark it up. Okay, I see a r, that's my variable, and I need to get rid of the 20 and the 5. Do we get rid of the plus 20 first or the minus 5? Okay. If you guys think, I'm going to have you guys write the yes and no's again. If you think I'm going to get rid of the 20 first, please click on yes. And if you think I'm going to get rid of the 5, please click on no. Which one do I get rid of first? Thank you very much. So as we did before, we said, hey, r plus 20 is one group. We're going to do that first so we can get rid of the 5. Let's get rid of the 5 first. And the opposite of divide by 5 is multiply by 5. And they agree with us. That's what they told us. Multiply both sides by 5. That's going to give us 5 times 4. It's going to give us 20. And then here is a tricky part that kids get confused about. What is 20 minus 20? 20 minus 20. If you had $20 and you spent $20, you have no dollars left. Okay. We can double check that. 20, if R was 20, we could plug in r. This was r is now 20. 20 plus 0 is 20. 20 divided by 5, that is the 4 we wanted. Okay. Any questions on this problem? You guys doing okay? Okay, let's get to some harder problems. We said this was going to be a 20. We said this was going to be 0. For this problem, we see it again. We see that dividing. Let's mark it up. So they told us divide by 2. So 2d plus 3 equals to 16. Let's go ahead and try dividing both sides by 2. So I'm going to draw a big fraction to both sides. And the 2 and 2 divide out. 2 divided by 2 is an easy one. You could write 1d plus 3, but isn't that just 1d and 1, 3? So we don't need to write that parentheses. Just d plus 3 is equal to 16 divided by 2 is 8. Solving for this, minus 3 to both sides. D is equal to 5. Folks, if you guys can do this, and you guys are in great shape doing this, you guys are right on track for this class. You're right on track for getting A on that first test. That's why we have a lot of these practice types of problems. If you guys are doing this, you guys are going to be fabulous in Algebra 1. If you're not practicing this, Algebra 1 will be a tough class. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill that in. Divide by 2 is going to be 8, and minus 3 is going to be 5. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to some harder problems. Okay, we see this problem here. We have S on the same side. We have 2 of them. Okay, now they did all the moves for us. They did all the moves for us. What I mean is, if you look at the left side, it's all filled out. So their first step was to wait, okay, let's figure out what's there and what's not there. I still see the 11, and I still see the 3. So they messed with those. So they messed with the S's. What is 12S minus 10S? 12S minus 2S is, so minus 12S is 2S. And we have a way of saying that. We combine like terms. My next move as detectives, okay, I don't see 11 and I don't see 3 anymore. They must have mixed those together. Now, did they put the numbers on the left side or the right side? I see the 8 is on the right side. So I want to move that 11 over. The opposite of minus 7 is plus 11. And 11 minus 3 is 8. So I added 11 to both sides. Now again, as mentioned before, the way we fill these out is we don't write down what we're going to do next. We write down what we just did to get to that step. What did I do to get to this step? That's what these lines here are for. What did I do to get to this step? What was the process to get me to where I am here now? What was the process to get from here to here? Well, I added 11 to both sides. Last one, what's the process to get from 2S equals 8 to S? I divided by 2. That's going to be divided by 2 is 4. And let's go ahead and fill that in. So to look at the pull down, very similar to what they did before. We wanted to, did we add 12 to both sides? Did we subtract 12, multiply both sides by 12, divide both sides by 12, or just combine like terms? To get from step 1 to step 2, we combine like terms. To get from step 2 to step 3, I added 11 to both sides. And to get from 2s to s, we divided both sides by 2, leaving us a 4. Okay, let's jump to this. Let's get a little farther up. So again, we're just describing the moves that they did. First move, how did I get from a 4, 3, and 5 to a 20 here? So 12 and 20. Did they divide by 4 or did they multiply out? They multiplied out. So we're going to say we multiplied. Wait, did we multiply both sides? No. Did we divide both sides? Oh, the distributive property. We multiplied everyone by that 4. How did I get from this line to this line? Well, I still have the -5. I still have the 12. They must have combined the 20 and the 15. 20, -20 plus 15 is -5. That's correct. What did they do there? They combined like terms. So let's see. Did we add 20? Nope, we didn't add 20 to both sides. Did we subtract 20? Nope, we didn't multiply by 20, divide. We combine like terms. And the last choice is, how did I get rid of the 5? We added 5 to both sides. That will take us to -5 plus 5 is 0. And then we divided. So what is 0 divided by 12? What is 0 divided by 12? Can we have 0 divided by 12? Imagine if I had 0 eggs. Isn't 0 eggs like in a carton of eggs? How many eggs do you have? You have 0 eggs. Our rule in math is that I can never divide by 0, but 0 can be on top of the fraction. That's not a problem. Terrific. Okay, so what you guys are going to do for the rest of the class period today, you guys are actually going to work right now, log into iExcel. You're going to work on this homework assignment in class, and the goal today is to get up to 95 SMART score. Okay, so why don't we start that right now? Go ahead and log into iExcel. I'll keep progress of you guys over here. iExcel keeps a log when you are logged in and how much time you spend on each problem.